Hello and welcome to this video, this strange video. You found yourself watching like a devlog where we're going to mess around in Unity, and this is video 5 in a series where we've created 3D Snake, and we've now got the script working so that, for instance, I can left click and I can grow a snake. I've got lots of snakes here which we've attached to this fountain. Here we go, which spawns different kinds of objects. Right, in this video we want to incorporate, if we can, I'm going to keep videos from now on. I think they feel about right at about 20 minutes long. So let me actually take a time check, do the maths. Okay, right, 20 minutes from now. And yeah, so we wanted to incorporate an important behavior for a snake, which is to get to a certain location, or what we might call a waypoint. So I would like it, let me just bring down the volume so my steps aren't so loud, apologies. I would like it so that I can walk around this world and then maybe place an object like this red ball. Maybe I'll use this prefab as like an apple object like you had in the old Snake Arcade. And then I would like our Mach 3 snake, so the third version of our snake script, to be able to locate that in 3D space, but not just going there on like a vector, but using the code that we've coded so far. So it will use its snaky kind of arcade movement in order to find it. Okay, so that's the plan. So let's bring up a draw pad, a whiteboard, a blackboard, to try and figure out what I'm doing. So what have we got? We have got a creature that can move in one of 6 directions. And I think I've said, let's say Z-axis is going this way, so this is positive. And then the x-axis will be going like this. I believe this is positive up here. And then the y-axis, obviously, up and down, and that's positive. Okay, so I think we've said that this is direction 1, and this now must be direction 6. Just like a dice. So each side of the dice will add up to exactly 7. So moving on the x-axis, so that will be rotating by the y-axis, minus 90 plus 90. I need to refer back to the code so we can complete our diagram here. So check direction. Right. So case 1, our vector is 0, 0, 0, so there's no rotation, and so it's just pointing up the z-axis in the positive direction. So 6 should be 180 using the y-axis to rotate. Okay, that's making sense. Direction 2 is minus 90 on the x, so that's looking up. So we can add that to our diagram. So that is up is direction 2, meaning 5 to add up to the 7 must be looking down. Just confirm that. So look at case 5, yes, 90 on the x-axis, so it's pointing down. Meaning 3 and 4 look at going left and right, and it looks like 3 is right, 4 is left, because 4 is negative 90 on the y-axis. So 4 is left. So 4 is this way. Oh, I've already drawn that arrow. 4. There we go. Just going to see if I can undo my mistake. Right. So 7, 3 is going right. Okay, so we've got a diagram. That will be handy. Let's just save this. That'll be our snake. What are we on? Video 5 diagram. and this will help us with trying to find a waypoint. So basically, we want to come up with an algorithm now. I've got like a basic idea of a way I think this will happen. So what we want to be able to do is click the button, click the mouse button, and instead of growing our snake, which is attached to mouse button 0 at the moment, we want to have a vector 3 position. So that will have, I don't know, what do I call N, N, N. That'll be our position. And then our snake wants to be able to refer to this waypoint in space, and then have some kind of algorithm to decide using this kind of like voxely 90-degree movement to get to that waypoint. So a way of doing it, I think, would be to maybe randomize out of 3, and then for each case to go and work on that direction or that axis. So case 1 would refer to the x dimension, x-axis, 2 would be the y, and 3 would be the z. So if we've got a random number of 1, then the snake could say, okay, are we more than or less than the waypoint position, and then choose our direction as being, so on the x-axis is going, no, this is the z-axis, the x-axis goes this way, so it's either 3 or 4. So 3 or 4. It needs to be going 4 if the snake's position is less than the waypoint position, and then vice versa. 2, we want to be deciding to go, so yeah, case 2, so the looking at whether the waypoint is higher or lower, we want to be choosing out of going up or down, so 2 or 5. 3 is right, I've just got to remember that. Let's just put an R over 3, an L over 4, and then if our random number is 3, then we're looking on the z-axis. So are we going forward, kind of like forwards along the z-axis, or backwards? So that's out of 1 and 6. So 2 was up, 5 is down, 6 is back, and 1 is forwards. Okay, let's go and script this. So firstly, we need to be able to plant, what do you call them, the waypoints in the scene. So we've got to think, which object should be doing this? I guess it's our first person controller, although it's the snake that wants to interact with it. So maybe the snake script should be looking out for the user clicking left or right. So first thing I'm going to do is create a new C# script, and this is going to this is going to hold our Mach3 snake. So I'm going to call these by convention now Mach3, Mach4, Mach5, and so on if we continue. So a Mach3 snake, and I'm going to copy our latest version, which is held in the experimental SB script. So I want to copy everything below this point. And then once we've changed what we need to here, let's make sure I've copied that, we want to look at going to the update function and sorting out an input for the mouse and placing down a waypoint. Okay, so yes, there we go. We've essentially copied that script over. We can save that now. So we've got a Mach3 snake. So updates function we need. So we no longer want to grow the snake with a left click. This time we want to place a waypoint. Right, so place a waypoint. So we want a function something like waypoint and we want to use our player position translated forward a little bit. Let's just call this place waypoint. Right. So void place waypoint. It's void because this function doesn't need to return anything. It just wants to go do something. So it's a method really, not a function. So what we want to do is it's not really placing a waypoint. It's kind of just recording a place in space. So we want to say waypoint equals record new waypoint. My pseudocode was becoming real code there. So we want to say, maybe we've just got one waypoint. We've just got a variable. So this will be a transform. I'm fighting with autocorrect. Let's go and make a variable. So we need a new variable, waypoint. And so it wants to be a transform. What does it? No, it doesn't need a rotation and everything. It just needs to be a vector 3. So it doesn't need to be public. You don't need to see it in the inspector. Vector 3 waypoint. So each snake could have a separate waypoint. Vector 3 waypoint. There we go. Now in our place waypoint, we can say, without autocorrect ruining things for us, we can say my waypoint equals this. Now we need the player's position. We need the player's position. So we can just say my player position. Player position plus vector 3 forward. That needs to be in front of the player. So we need to get hold of our player's transform. So we'll call it player trans position plus player trans forward times and then maybe, I don't know, 5 meters in front of the player, or 5 units in front of the player. How am I doing for time? I've got about 5 more minutes, I think. Okay, so I need to go and create this reference to the player. So I haven't done this yet in this series. I haven't used the GameObject.Find object, I don't think, which is quite useful. We want to create a variable for the player's transform. Why have we got this? It's always good to put a reason in your comments. Explain why you've got something. Makes it a lot easier later on when you're reading through. So player's transform, so that we can place new waypoints. There we go. And so we want a transform. What did I call it? Was it my player? Player trans. Okay. Player trans. So in start, we can go and grab the player transform. So instead of calling it first-person shooter controller, let's call it, what are we? We're kind of the snake wizard. There we go. We are the snake wizard. So I might sneeze in a moment. We're going to say GameObject.Find. Excuse me. Sneezed. Find. This should return a GameObject. Yes. So GameObject.Find finds a GameObject by its name and returns it right here. So its name is Snake Wizard. There we go. And we want its transform. I don't think I need to write get component transform. I think if you get a game object, then you're giving its transform almost for free. So we want to say, we want to assign that to player trans. There we go. So here we are grabbing the player's transform. That'll do. Okay. So we've got the player's transform in the startup. So when a snake starts, when it exists, when its brain exists on some kind of block, its first job will be to go and get the player's transform. Next, if we've clicked the left mouse button, it will place a waypoint, and the waypoint's position will be the player's position, player transform's position, plus whichever way the player is kind of looking, that will include up and down hopefully, times 5, which will stand for 5 meters. There we go. Now if we've placed a waypoint, it'd be nice to see it. So we could I don't really want to. Well, I'll just write. What's the easiest way? Instantiate, is it called? Instantiate clones and original. Yes, instantiate. We'll call it waypoint fruit. It's going to look like an apple. Instantiate waypoint fruit. And the parent, we don't really want a parent. But we do want to say game object. We'll call it f for fruit. F equals instantiate that. And then we can say f's transform position equals the waypoints vector 3, and that's it. So it'll be in the right position. So all we have to do is go and make our waypoint fruit game object variable. So what's our waypoint fruit? Public, so we can go and populate it in the inspector. Public game object waypoint fruit. There we go. I just had a feeling that I wrote waypoint with camel humping somewhere, but I didn't know. It's okay. Waypoint, all as one word. Waypoint fruit. Right. So there we are. We're loading. Load a red or load a waypoint marker into the scene. There we go. I'm not doing well on time. It's about 20 minutes now. But if we now go and save this script, and in the inspector, if we had a Mach 3 snake, we need a Mach 3 snake. We've got a snake 2. Oh! Snake 3. That was Mach 2 already. What am I calling? This is Mach 2. I don't know what's Mach 3 and Mach 4. Oh god. Right, we'll call this one Mach 3. Have I mixed up the names from the beginning of this video? Apologies. That's confusing. Anyway, snake 3 will take off your script and we'll add a Mac 3. So you're going to be the Mac 3. You are Mac 3. Yes. So let's just delete this old prefab. We've got snake 3. There we go. I think our egg was, yes, it was using the old prefab, so I'll just repopulate that there. Okay. And I can put snake 2 in the other one, because my fountain could spawn 2 different objects. That hasn't worked. Let's try and get that in there. There we go. So, what do I want to... Oh, yes. So looking at our Mac 3 snake, how fast is it going? It's going quite fast. Let's just let it move. Okay, 0.6, that's fine. 11 segments. Let's just give it 4 segments. Perlin path, no. Yeah, okay, we'll switch that on. Is it ready? Yes, we want it to move straight away. Step change after, I don't know, 4. And the waypoint fruit. So I want to make a waypoint fruit. Let's just make that. 3 sphere. It wants to be pretty small, does it? I'll make it 0.5. 0.5, 0.5. And it doesn't need a collider. In fact, we can, we'll just switch off the collider, we won't remove it. Mesh renderer, we don't want any blend probes on, so we can just optimize that. We don't want any shadows, we don't want it to cast any shadows. But we would like it to have a simple unlit shader. So we need to make a new material. Create material, I'll call it fruit matte. So we want you to be an unlit color. Now I can just make you red. There we go. Brilliant. So we've got a fruit material, and then our sphere. That needs to be a fruit, and we can apply the red material to it. Brilliant. So we've got a fruit. We can now make that a prefab by dragging it into our assets folder, and we can delete the original fruit, as it were, and then actually we can bring up our snake 3 prefab and add our fruit into there, and our snake 3 here. Yep, it's now got fruit populated in there because it's a prefab. Okay, right, we'll apply these settings to the prefab. Right, let's go and let's just run to finish off. So hopefully I'll be able to left click and a fruit will in front of us. Our snake won't go and get it yet, but there's our wonderful Mac 3 snake. And I'm just going to see if it turns. New direction for, oh no, it's burrowing now into the ground. Goodbye. Right, if I now mouse click left, we've placed a fruit. If I look up, it doesn't change. It looks like, our fruit positioning, it is working. It is being, I was going to say it isn't moving in the direction we are looking precisely. So I haven't positioned it properly. But it is kind of in front of us. Right, so we can place waypoints. And so the last waypoint that you make will be the actual waypoint. So we want to look after these waypoints. We want to be able to delete the last one when we create a new one. So place waypoint. So it makes sense for our waypoint not to be a vector 3, but to be an object in its own right. So a waypoint wants to be a, can I just say transform? No, it needs to be a game. It needs to be a game object. You know what? Our waypoint fruit. We've already got a waypoint fruit. So I think we can just use our waypoint fruit. So waypoint fruit equals this position. And we want to instantiate it straight away. So at the start of the game, in the start function, we found our snake wizard. Then we want to load the waypoint. It should be in its own function, I think. So waypoint fruit is instantiated. It doesn't matter about its position, but we do want to say that it's not yet active. So we want to say waypoint fruit set active false. So it's loaded, but it's not visible. It won't interact in the physics or anything like that. And then when we play a transform position. Maybe I should say I was going to try. Why isn't our fruit looking up? Being positioned up when we're looking up. It might need to take on, I don't know, the rotation of the player. Let's try that as another thing. Waypoint fruit's position transform position equals that. Something going on with my computer here. What am I doing? Waypoint fruits transform rotation equals our player trans rotation. Let's just see if that overcomes our small bug. And then when we first create our player, so our transform, you want to just make sure that it is active. So actually all we're doing is moving the waypoint. We create it once, we load it once into the scene. At the start of the scene, we make sure it's not active, we can't see it. And whenever we place a new waypoint, we're just making sure that it's active in case it's being destroyed or eaten by a snake, and then moved to the player's position. So let's finish this video here after we just have a little look. So one thing we're looking for is we can just see one waypoint being created, and the second thing, that it's appearing exactly where we're looking. So the first thing is, yes, we're resetting the position of our waypoint, but the second thing, it's not following the line of sight of our player. So I'll work on that maybe between this video and the next one. So thank you very much for watching. I hope some of that was useful and enjoyable. See you next time.